Make your browser fast.
You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Oh, this is one of the fun days of training camp, joint practice between the Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers, and we have team coverage here at Jags headquarters as they get set to host a preseason game on Friday night. Let's begin it all with our whip around.
Welcome to the second of 3 joint practices for the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the first time here in Duval, though, as the Carolina Panthers come to town. A ton of storylines to get to. We have team coverage here from the Miller Electric Center. Let's begin with Mia O'Brien on hers.
Thanks, Liv. The Jaguars making a somewhat surprising move this morning as they traded a late-round pick for Giants offensive lineman Daniel Falele. When you consider the Jaguars had just 9 available offensive linemen at Monday's practice, it doesn't come as much of a surprise. While he won't be here at joint practices, at the same time, I'm very interested to see how this affects those rotations for contingency purposes we've seen along the OL in training camp. Let's send it over to Noah.
Well, the Carolina Panthers are in town, and so is former Jaguars linebacker Devin Lloyd making his return to Duval. For more on this joint practice, we send it over to Austen Lane.
We're live here at Jaguars joint practice today with the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to interview Albert Regis, and I'm going to be on standby in case the fight pops off. Both teams got something to prove. Carolina's coming off a bad preseason game. The Jaguars been lacking a little physicality. Expect a fight today. If the fight goes down, go ahead and tag me in. Back to you guys.
I would expect nothing else. And how about this video just in moments ago? That's Devin Lloyd. Of course, what a season he had for the Jacksonville Jaguars a year ago. Now a Carolina Panther. And the Panthers have some interesting connections to the area. A couple of Florida Gators as well, including Kyle Trask and Felipe Franks. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the upper deck up here at Jags headquarters, overlooking Jags practice. Thousands of fans in the bleachers. Great spot to watch it. We've got a trade for the Jaguars, as Mia mentioned. Talk about that in just a moment. We've got a tour of the stadium coming up tomorrow. So we'll get a look at inside what's going on. And, of course, everything leads to the first game at Everbank since the Buffalo Bills lost in the playoffs and all the different work that's gone into it on Friday night on CBS 47 preseason game number 2. No doubt there's an energy here. This is fun. I mean, you go to a practice yesterday for a little bit, and it's very subdued, no pads, no fans, and then you come up to this one and you're like, okay, this is it now. This is cool. These are some of the highlights of training camp, and the Jags need some highlights. It's been a week marred by a lot of injury news, and also last week wasn't so great. We've been saying we don't think camp has been maybe to the standard they wanted, and so what will today's practice bring? And I also kind of joking around about fights. We'll see if there's some pushing and shoving. We'll see if there's a little edge to the Jaguars. We saw that from the Saints last week. And how about the Saints and the Cowboys yesterday? I don't think anybody wants to see that. Like, that is not what these guys want to see. In fact, one of the comments that I got from someone within the Jags organization pretty high up last week was how professional things were against the Saints. And they hope to duplicate that here against the Carolina Panthers on this Wednesday edition. Just one joint practice, remember. I know a lot of the joint practices have been built to be 2 practices over the years. Not the case. One last week against the Saints, one here, and scheduled for 2 next week. Still think there's some determination going on about injuries and everything else on whether both sides want to do both, and they could call one of those off very simply. So we'll see what happens there. But I'll focus on this one. Jason Hamby back in the Action Sports Jax studios, and let's make a quick comment on the trade that just took place this morning and was publicized. There's a couple of things about this. There are not a lot of good offensive linemen out there in general. And when it's the middle of August and you're making moves for people are not usually giving up top flight offensive linemen. So this is a depth play. This is not a plug and play. And oh boy, there you go. There's the starting 5 in the envelope game is now changed, right? Speaking of, get those to us, sports@actionnewsjacks.com. If you want to play in the envelope game, what is the starting offensive line for the Jags on September 13th when they roll out against the Cleveland Browns? So you can submit those and win a prize. But that's not this play. This is a play that is a depth play, a body play. They need them right now, and hopefully you upgrade some of that depth. It's a guy who's been around the league a little bit, and a fun name to say, and Falele.
There you go.
Right?
Falele, yeah, Daniel Falele.
There you go, Hamby. So not a beloved player in the organizations he's been in. Is that fair enough to say?
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think you got to remember that O-linemen only get pointed out when they do poorly. Otherwise, you don't hear their names. And O-linemen that are especially backups are easy guys to pile on at sometimes. I think this organization is aware of that. I mean, this organization has done it to Walker Little at times. They can pile on. But when Walker Little plays well, you rarely hear about him. Not to say that him and Falele are similar, but he has been treated similarly by the Ravens. I think that's fair to say. And then obviously he follows Harbaugh to the Giants and never really plays with them other than the one preseason game, which he did allow a sack in that third quarter where Ravens fans kind of gave him the old "I told you so." So that kind of proves the point. This is exactly what you said. This is not we have a new starting guard. They need a body. And not to put him as just as an X and O or as anything less than a name on a piece of paper, but I mean we need a body move. We need a little
Fight
insurance.
On.
Oh
Game
wow!
On. Fight
oh
on.
wow!
All right,
Fight.
Into practice. So here we go on the far field.
That didn't take long.
That did not take long. Yeah, you can hear the crowd. Probably. I don't know how well you can hear the crowd. I can hear them pretty loud.
Yeah, we can hear them.
So on the near field, just to set the scene, we'll get back. And good thoughts on the offensive line trade. But I know everybody's in here for the joint practice as well. We can be at least descriptive with our voice. We won't have a lot of pictures. A lot of these things are not open to be able to shoot. So the Jags and Carolina will push out probably some of the premier highlights. So when you get a scuffle like that, it's not great to – I mean, you can talk about it, but you can't really show it, right? So on our TV stations, on social media. But we've got Bryce Young in the offense of Carolina on the near field. I'm on the upper deck if you're familiar with Miller Electric Center. And the Jags defense, by the way, on consecutive plays, a run stuff, and then a nice play in the end zone to break up the pass. Had it covered very well with Jarian Jones and Eric Murray. But on the far field, I couldn't tell who the back was for the Jags. I think it was two. And it was a nice aggressive run, physicality, and then some extracurriculars by Carolina after the fact, maybe to set the tone for practice. And all of a sudden, an offensive lineman coming off from the Jags and then Carolina, and we had a little bit of a scuffle. It was a very minor scuffle. I think somewhat similar to the Saints, but actually I would say the Saints one seemed even a little bit more escalated than this one did. But heck of a way to kind of set the tone for practice. And to your point, and I think Austin's point when at the top of the show, I think both teams are out here trying to prove a little something. You've got to be a little careful to prove too much in a practice session because then you can get people injured. But I do think there's an edge and urgency to both of these teams, and obviously we're more interested in the Jaguars. But I think there needs to be an urgency here. Winning practice, what the heck does that even mean? But I would think you want to come away feeling better than you did last week against the Saints because it looked like the Jags certainly lost that practice. If you go punch for punch a little bit, not literally, figuratively, then I think that's acceptable. That's just what's going to happen. But last week it looked like the Saints took it to the Jags on many levels, save a red zone period that was special for the Jags. And that was the only reason we weren't hammering the Jags even more. So let's see how they bounce back today. So far, some very good results. Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas Jr. just a moment ago. Another an overthrow by Bryce Young, but good coverage. Actually, it might have been 17's quarterback rise. Now a fumble for Carolina. They actually complete the pass. So anyway, I'm not going to give you a play-by-play of every single thing that goes on, but try to highlight some of the things happening. Travis Hunter is on defense to start this practice. So that's also notable. And we'll see if he plays offense. I'm assuming he will go over there. Against the Saints, he started defense for a couple of, I would say a couple of minutes, probably like 15 or 20 minutes, however many periods that was, and then came over to the offensive side. We'll see how much he sticks on the defensive side here today. On that other field, it is interesting to see Devin Lloyd, right? And to note Devin Lloyd. And on this field here, on the Jags defense, they're trying to replace him. That's a big storyline for us in camp. So we get to see that like magnified in real time. Devin Lloyd's replacements with Ventrell Miller and Brent Martineau Austen. And how well will Devin Lloyd do in Carolina? Carolina's an intriguing team, Hamby. They've got obviously Bryce Young and Canales and company. I think went 5-1 down the stretch. I think that was what they did last year, and so they really surprised some people. It looked like they were. I mean, they've had times where it's been very bumpy and looked like, okay, this isn't going to work. But then now they got something to build off, and I think they have some talented players. Their defense is always usually pretty good, much like the Saints we talked about last week. And I think Carolina's interesting. It will come down to how Bryce Young plays. I think Felipe Franks just caught a touchdown, helmet ripped off, and then does this to the crowd, and they're booing him. I mean, this is like straight out of like WWE right here. So Felipe Franks, who another wild story is that he's still in the league and participating. Meanwhile, on the other side, he got C.J. Williams catch down to the 1 yard line.
Okay.
So some good activity going on. But the Felipe Franks moment was kind of fun right there. It's just a jump ball, basically, that he was able to get. Helmet comes off, and then WWE's the crowd as they boo him.
That's hilarious.
A lot going on. I can almost see too much from here. Like my eyes are going to be all over the place today.
Mr. Hugo in the chat said you can almost see the practice through the reflection of Brent's glasses. Zoom in on his face a little bit more.
Easy now. We don't want to be doing that. No streaming. I'll face the other way. So anyway, back to the offensive line trade. I think you said, I mean, it is what it is, right? We don't have to make a bigger deal of it. It's not like they traded for a starting right tackle.
Right.
Or, I mean, this is a guy that's been just okay. Jags going to add him to depth. We'll see what happens. And it makes it like I like the move. I like the idea of a reaction, right? The Jags obviously have some issues right now on the offensive line, and I like the fact that they reacted to it and said, "Hey, we're not going to just be absent here." So I think I think that's what this regime is all about. They're not going to just stand pat, and quite frankly, you can't from a body standpoint. And you know what we say, F them picks around here, or that's what Gladstone says. So
yeah, I'm almost surprised they gave away a pick.
Yeah, they're getting to the point where you just don't want too many picks. I argued that this year, that you just, how do you keep everybody? They're already to the point where it's going to be tough on a practice squad. Oh, Josh Hines, Allen, what a move. And then Eric Armstead probably would have cleaned up Bryce Young, but Josh Hines Allen just beat a double team. Great rep from number 41. I mean, just bullied his way in. And then
Luke Fortner out there at center.
Let me check. I just want to see an offensive play first.
Should be number 77.
Actually, don't. 77, no. Wait a minute. Maybe he is right there.
Supposed to be their starting center.
He is right there. Yeah, he is their starting center.
Okay.
I was looking at 71. But yeah, he is their starting center. So this was Josh beat left tackle and left. So
okay.
Hey, Austin's probably checking in just to let you know, Hamby. So give you a heads up. I think Bryce Young would have been probably sacked again right there. And that one might have been a row, which is also a nice sign because I feel like a row really played well in the game on Saturday. And it got to like some of the early returns, at least this last week, on a row. And that was another good rep for him. I thought it looked like he might have been sacked. Ball's at the 3 yard line. So we're doing a little red zone work. They're going in the direction of the Jags fans, so you could hear a roar. If you don't hear anything, it's probably a good Carolina play. And that's going to be a good Carolina play. It's a touchdown, a running touchdown to the outside. Jags couldn't get out there. Might have an injury for Carolina with tight end or right side of the line. Looks like a tight end, or maybe it's even a receiver. On the far field, by the way, Trevor Lawrence and company, I know everybody wants to know offense. He just eludes a rush and then fires a dart to somebody. That was a touchdown for the Jags. I couldn't really make it out who exactly. Might have been Brent Strange. I'm not sure who was over there. So I give you a little play-by-play. Got to get the binoculars out if I was thinking play-by-play the entire way for the Jaguars joint practice. So some good stuff happening at the early. I love the energy. A little scuffle if you just jump in. We had just like on the second play of offense for the Jags. So and Austen didn't tag into that. I think Austen can hear me now. And so, Austen, we're going to have you pop in and out of the show. I don't want you to miss too much of practice, but just some early thoughts. I feel like there's an intensity, there's an urgency from both sides, but I like what the Jags have brought at least to the table today.
Yeah, I've been kind of standing in the middle watching the defense and the offense, but obviously I'm kind of more keen on the offense right now simply because we've got to see more physicality out of them. First play of ones versus ones, Jaguars offense versus the Carolina defense, there was a little bit of a scuffle. And it happened when the Panthers got good penetration, kind of hit. I want to say it was Abdul. I couldn't tell who the running back was, but hit him behind the line of scrimmage. That led to offensive lineman getting a little pissed off, and it led to a little bit of a scuffle. I grabbed Pete Prisco and said, "Let's go, man. It's our time." Pete said, "You got it." And unfortunately, I have to go on the field right now, but you can definitely tell that the Carolina Panthers have come in here with an attitude. They've been challenged along with the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. I will say this, offensive line mix-ups are a little interesting right now. You have Walker Little as your starting right tackle. You have Ezra as your starting right guard. You have Pregnon at the left guard, and then you have Anton Harrison at the left tackle. So they've been kind of shifting through a little bit at that right tackle position. Right now, it's been spearheaded by Walker Little playing right tackle.
Wow, let me just back up. I think that's pretty significant as we got a nice play by Jamar Muhammad. And also, I'm going to ask you about this in a second, Austen, but Trevor Lawrence lighting up the red zone again. He just threw touchdown. I thought the first one to Brent Strange. The other one was to Borkacher, and then just hit Jacoby Myers. And he just came off a great practice against the Saints. Well, let me go back to in terms of the red zone. Let me ask you again about the line that they're throwing out there. Does it surprise you at all to see Ezra yesterday at right tackle, but now at right guard, I think you just described. And then Pregnon at left guard, I don't think would surprise us a bunch, but they're really moving Ezra Cleveland around.
I apologize. Jalen Husky just put the hit stick on somebody. I believe it was a tight end. I can't tell who the tight end was from Carolina, but
it was Franks.
Jalen Husky just depleted somebody.
Yeah, that was Felipe Franks, by the way, who caught that.
Yeah.
Hey, look how loud it is at a joint practice for the Jags. I mean, that's kind of fun. Austen can hardly hear us.
Yeah.
All right, Austen, I go back. Are you surprised at all Ezra Cleveland is being moved around? Right tackle in practice yesterday. I think you just said right guard at the outset of this practice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, but simply because I wasn't here at practice yesterday, so I'm not sure how Ezra Cleveland looked at right tackle. You know, I'd like to think that if he was dominating or if he looked like he had promise, they would have kept him there. But yeah, we're seeing Walker Little right now at right tackle. They opened up this practice with one-on-ones, and it was on the opposite side of the field, so it was really kind of hard to tell who was winning and who was losing at one-on-ones. But I did see Walker Little win his rep in pretty decisive fashion playing right tackle. So far, I think so good for Walker Little at right tackle. But once again, I haven't seen a lot of the team reps right now to really gauge how well he's doing.
All right, one more thing for you. How significant is it, the red zone work of the last two joint practices so far? Obviously, it was a good session on Thursday when I was in New Orleans against the Saints, and Trevor comes out and just starts starting it and finding guys for touchdowns. Any significance to that, even though it's a joint practice?
No, I mean, obviously, you want to be super efficient in the red zone, and we're seeing that right now at practice. I should say that since Parker Washington's out, Austin Tremel is getting a little run now. With the ones, the first pass that was completed actually went to Brian Thomas Jr. on a nice little crossing route, probably got 8 or 9 yards. So that's who Trevor was looking for, you know, in the first pass. Now that Parker Washington is out, it went to Brian Thomas Jr. Listen, we know they're going to be good in the red zone. They have the wide receivers, they have the tight ends, they have the quarterback. Like, that's not the issue. To me, what we got to see a little more now is if it's going to be in the red zone or even 1st and 10, is can you be physical and can you run the football? And at least what I saw so far, it was a little bit of bad mixed with a little bit of good. So, like I said, I haven't seen every single play, but it seems like the physicality standpoint running the football still needs to be addressed maybe a little bit.
All right, we got a little lull in the action. I'm going to let you get back to watching some practice because they're shifting down the other side of the field. We'll continue to check in with Austin. See if you can get yourself in a fight, man.
Yeah, I mean, at this pace, I'm pretty confident that it might go down. I'm not going to whisper because he's here too. Steve Smith's here too. So, hey, if it's going to be media on media, let's get it.
I was going to say, someone here almost ran out there as soon as
let him know, Mia.
Facial Tootin got popped.
Yeah, but we have witnesses here. I wasn't, I wasn't standing on the sidelines.
Right, and he looked at me, and he
I was looking at Mia. I was looking at Pete Prisco. If anybody wants to go with John Shipley, got called out. So, yeah, man, it's been fun.
I don't know if Mia's tagging in or is she your manager? I'm not sure which one. I mean, I'm building this out as a WWE team. I like
there we go. Let's go. Yeah.
All right. We'll check back in with Austin in a little bit.
Oh, see you guys later.
Joint practice off to a fantastic start. This is really good stuff. A lot to dissect. And, again, good energy. I think you can hear the crowd behind me. They've been cheering more than sitting on their hands, and that's usually a good thing. Nice pop by Husky. Husky really has been making a name for himself in that preseason game, and now here, maybe a little too aggressive. They don't always like to see that stuff, but that was on Felipe Franks after a little pass into the flat. Hey, we're going to go check in back in the Action Sports Shack studios. We'll be talking about this joint practice a ton, checking back in with Austin. But we've got a couple of Jacksonville Icemen parading through the building, I think, today, and now they're taking over the show. In our seats, they could be on their own show. Coach Sean Tico, Jason Ruff, who probably wears a lot of different hats that I don't even know in terms of name titles. I don't know what the heck his business card says, but I call him the new Alex Reed. Fair enough, hopefully to do so. Guys, thanks for hanging around. Coach, I know we bring this up all the time, but I mean, Austin's trying to get in fights out here. It's just better to put him on skates and just bring him in for a shift. And just throw a few punches.
I was just telling Jason, I think he should come down and come to tryouts. We open camp October 5th when he wants to come down.
I'd love to see that personally.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, we say it all the time, but I think we got to somehow make it happen, at least in a practice session or a tryout session. Tryouts for Austen Lane.
We're not feeding
a guy
him,
can skate. Hey, we're not joking around, right? I mean, he can skate. You've seen him skate. He can skate. So, hey, how you guys doing? I know you're in the building for a couple other things, but thanks for stopping by the Action Sports Shack's 24/7 Network Studios. Welcome, Jason Ruff, to your new role. And if you're not familiar with Alex Reed, basically he's our communication person. So we'll be working with Jason to hopefully get Coach Sean on and also some of the players that we have on our show from time to time, and not too far away from the season, Jason. So a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely. Hopefully, the closer we get to the season, we'll actually get a little bit of a cold front right on top of downtown Jacksonville, right around where ViStar is. So hopefully, if fans want to beat some of this heat that we've had to deal with here the last couple of weeks, just come on down to ViStar and cool off a little bit with some Jacksonville Icemen hockey.
Yeah, nothing says hockey like the Jacksonville Heat, right? But
no,
hey,
it doesn't.
It does. We love the hockey coach, Sean Tico, and have your guys adjusted to that? The guys that have been around here a while, I know they like playing golf around these parts, but have they adjusted to some of the weather when they walk out of the arena?
Yeah, it's definitely something that you got to adjust to. I think a lot of our guys like coming to practice and wearing the flip-flops and shorts, and like you said, hitting the links right after practice. So I think they get adjusted pretty easily, but they really do enjoy it down here.
Those damn hockey players, man, they make golf look so easy. It's unfair because of that slap shot. Coach, how do you feel about your squad? I know late playoff push last year, but obviously rosters slip every single season. And you guys have been very good overall, but it's had to be a little disappointing not to make the playoffs. It gives you guys a little edge, right, going into this year. And what can you tell us about the early signings that you've had? And I know it's a bit early to tell what exactly your team looks like, but how do you feel going forward into 26-27?
Yeah, of course. We talked a lot last year, and it was a disappointing end. But I think it's all part of our process, and it was all part of what we need to do to build this culture to be the championship culture that we want it to be and that we know it'll get to. And I think just people understanding that failure is part of the process. In my eyes, last year was a failure for myself as a coach. But I really, really liked what we brought at the end of the year when we made those trades, bringing in those guys. We brought all those guys back this year. You guys may not know it yet, but majority of the team is already signed. So I am very, very happy with what we got so far. We got a lot of talent coming back. We got some grit coming in. And then with our affiliates, I think we got some good players coming down, so I'm super, super excited. We got some new coaching staff, and also bringing in a guy like Jason to bring some more awareness to the Icemen here and just giving us some more publicity.
Jason, just give us your view on the outside looking in. You walk into year 10, a new logo change, which looks fantastic. The more I see the logo, I really like it. I see the difference in the
fantastic.
logo. At first, I think we were thinking something a lot bigger, different, like than years past when it got announced. But now the more I see it, I'm like, that thing really does pop. I really like the logo. But 10th year anniversary, you know what this franchise has been a little bit about. You've done your homework. What's your view outside coming in to Jacksonville about the Icemen, where they sit in the ECHL, and what they can now do going forward specifically this year?
Well, definitely Jacksonville has been and will continue to be definitely one of the top teams in this division. You look at the South Division in the Eastern Conference in the ECHL, it has been where championships usually have been made. It's one of the toughest divisions in this entire league, so it stands to reason if you're able to get out of this division, you got a better than even chance to win the cup. The fact of the matter is, though, is that there are a lot of good teams. Jacksonville has great support, and we've got a great coach right now. We've got great players coming in, and I do think, obviously, let's call it what it is. Florida has been kind of a bit of the class of this division a little bit, and, give them full credit. They've won the championships. They put in the work. But sports are all cyclical. It's all cyclical, and I definitely think that this is about the time for the Icemen to really start to take that next step. Sean Tickle, I think, is definitely the right man to do it. Talking with him, talking with what he wants to do and how he wants to bring these players in. I love the players that they've got coming in. I'm biased. I'm a Michigan State guy, so I'm really excited about Tanner Kelly coming here after he had 50 points in his rookie year in the ECHL, and before that was a star at Michigan State and East Lansing, Michigan. So I'm really excited about that. But that's just one guy. All the guys that are coming into the roster and coming onto this team this year, I'm really excited for. And we obviously, this being the 10th anniversary, it's a symbolism of the fact that hockey can and will work here. It's a testament to the fact and the stability of this organization, of the leadership, of the ownership with Andy Kaufman and Zoyer Sports. And really, I think obviously this 10-year anniversary should be not only a celebration of what has come from the past, but also I think it should also be a recognition that, hey, we're moving forward to a new era where this team is going to be competing at the highest level, competing for championships, and really looking to be the class of this Southern Division of the Eastern Conference. Because like I said, you can get out of this division, you've got a better than even chance to win the cup.
Absolutely. We've seen that's the way it worked. It's not even a question if hockey works here. We know it works. What it's been built. So that's a beautiful conversation. It's just how much more can we grow it? You grow it. Everybody grow it. And we're seeing it in the youth leagues. We get the stories all the time that you guys have started here in Jacksonville from the youth sports and hockey standpoint, giving them 2 sheets of ice to be able to grow their games and get that youth hockey involvement. It seems like it's grown because there's so many people that came down from the north over the last 5 or 6 years, especially. I'll let you guys run, but Sean, what do you do? Obviously it's roster accumulation right now, right? And you said you're about done. So what do you do from now until basically when camp begins, which I'm assuming would be early October or late September, because I think you play October 17th, I want to say. So what's the process over the next 2 months for you as the coach to get in order and get ready for the season?
Yeah, for me, it's a bit of a process throughout the summer. Like you said, majority of the early part of the summer I spend on obviously returning players, getting their contracts done, getting all those guys into places, getting them tryouts with our American League affiliate and whatever else I need to get done. Having a new assistant coach this year, Stefan Thorne, coming in. He's a very, very bright young coach. He's a guy that I've known for over 20 years now, but more just sitting with him and going through what we want as our philosophies, our ethoses as a team, the way we want our players to act, our culture and all that stuff, and then slowly working through our play. We work through our 5-on-5, our special teams, our PK, what we're doing, up a goal, down a goal, and just kind of going through all that. And then him and I will take off middle of September, and we're going to go to Minnesota to take part in their American League camp. So we'll get to ask some more questions there and, expand our knowledge and get to be around those guys at the next level, and getting around to be the American League, the NHL coaches is a great experience for us. So we're just kind of working through all that and I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but, when you sit down at a desk with someone, it gets pretty deep. And me and Stefan are going to deep dive into kind of everything that we want to do as the season goes on. And
awesome.
Obviously being in minor league sports, we have a lot more on our plate, right? Like having to deal with hotels and all that stuff too, as well. So just a lot of logistics behind the scenes that need to get done.
You'd be a good second career travel agent, is my guess. You'd probably be pretty good at it.
I've been doing this job for a very long time. I can tell you everywhere to go, all the best food spots, all the best hotels, anything you need, man. You just let me know.
Yeah. Should do like a little social media thing for you. Grow your brand a little bit, Coach. I mean, come on.
Coach Travel Agency.
Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Put it on the boards. Jason Ruff, welcome to town. I think the next big day, by the way, is 904 Day in Jacksonville, which obviously is September 4th. I think you're going to have a big party at the Igloo, if I saw that correctly, 6 until 8. And there might be even some more jersey unveils if I read that correctly.
Jersey reveals. Spoiler alert, they look
People love
sick. They look sick.
Yeah, they look awesome.
Spoiler alert.
Awesome. Great stuff, guys. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much,
Thanks
Brent.
so much. Thanks for having us, Brett.
All right, check out the JacksonvilleIceman.com, Jacksonville Iceman on JacksonvilleIceman.com for their schedule, by the way, tickets, everything, season leading up to October, and join them for that 904 Day on September 4th. A couple of quick things. Bryce Young to Evans, tight end, wide open touchdown here for a pretty good gainer. That was a missed assignment. Jarian Jones broke up the pass. Highlight on the other field. I could not tell who the back was. My kid's here, so I was wondering if he saw, but he didn't answer. Son of a gun, not a good reporter. But I did see a nice throw from Nick Mullins, who's back at practice, obviously, to Josh Cameron for a pretty good gainer, and a fist pump by Mullins after that throw on the sideline. So got some great activity here at Jaguars joint practice. Wonderful crowd. Steamy, but not crazy hot today, in my opinion. Of course, I'm in the shade right now, so easy for me to say. But we'll keep you updated from Jags joint practice with the Carolina Panthers. Let's hit a break. Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jags 24/7 Network, live from Jags HQ.
When we say the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network is everywhere, we mean it. If you don't want to see our ugly faces and you just want to hear our takes, listen to the podcast. It's up 30 minutes after every live show. Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google Play. It's really that simple. Just pull out your phone. I'm on Spotify, Action Sports Jax. Every episode is right there, split into hour chunks, so you get exactly what you're looking for.
I think it would be a better chance that Branson Combs wins the weak side linebacker spot than Wyatt Milam wins the right guard spot. And that's more because Patrick McCurry has done more in the league.
Stupid take.
He's more.
Maybe you only have 15 minutes before the kids come home. You don't have time to listen to the full show. You're craving Jags content. The YouTube page is for you. We have a separate playlist called Brent and Austen Show Segments. It's Jags only conversations right there every day. Subscribe. Don't miss any Jags content. Action Sports Jax.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic.
Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax now using your Roku device.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oak Leaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Stanwood High School, class of 2002.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Action Sports Jax 24/7 is your home for high school football in the 904. Get ready for each week of action Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock with the Blitz Breakdown, talking everything high school football in the Jacksonville area. And when the lights get bright on Friday night, Action Sports Jax 24/7 is there with live broadcasts of our game of the week and the Friday night Zone Blitz, giving you live looks into the biggest games in the area and coverage lasting until midnight. Here's the kick, the snap, the hold, the kick is blocked!
And they're going for the end zone, and they got a guy! Touchdown! And what?
Find these broadcasts available on YouTube, X, Facebook, and of course, ActionSportsJax.com. And the action doesn't stop there. Find even more high school football on the Action Sports Jax social channels with content posted throughout the week. When you're looking for the best high school football coverage in the 904, Action Sports Jax 24/7 is ready for the Blitz.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, taking a look at Ventrell Miller and Branson Combs. Obviously, those guys battling for a starting job. But again, it's a battle that seems so different than last year when Devin Lloyd and Ventrell Miller were battling. Those guys were very similar players in terms of their strengths, downhill against the run. And now, Lloyd, obviously a little more expansive in his ability to rush the passer and everything else. But that seemed like the battle, like, okay, who's going to play and who's not going to play? And that's the way it turned out. Devin Lloyd played a lot, and Devin Lloyd was fantastic. Jackson, he won the job. They made the right call. It all worked out. This one is just real different because, as everybody knows, and we've been saying, but I just don't want to assume everybody always knows, Ventrell Miller's a downhill guy. Branson Combs a good coverage guy. That can complement. So they're going to mix and match those guys. I have no idea what the percentage is going to be, but both players are going to play this year. And so the best battle for the Jags is that and running back. And to be honest with you, it's not really like a battle other than to say, hey, I'm the starting guy. There's a really good chance you go into week one and it still says or on the depth chart between Rodriguez and Bashal Tootin and also Branson Combs and Ventrell Miller. And who cares? It's not a big deal. I just think they need to play well. I think actually the story we might be missing a little bit on the linebacker spot is that they need Foye obviously to stay healthy. Really not much behind him. And they need him to play well. Even as he's getting older in his career, need them to play well. And they need Ventrell Miller and Combs to play well. Like, there's not a lot after those guys. Now, they have Tavai. There's been some nice things from Bernie, the former forward of Gator, that they've seen in a very short window. But just in terms of relying on something, there's really not a lot there. So I actually think part of this story should be those guys have to stay healthy since we're talking about injuries so much. They also have to be good because the Jags aren't loaded at linebacker, especially with what now seems like a stunt in the growth of potentially a Jack Kaiser because he's been out since the first day of camp. So he has no growth whatsoever this month. And then a lot of question marks otherwise on the roster. So who knows? It's a position where you can find the Branson Combs of the world. And you also don't need to be star-studded at linebacker. Like, fair enough. The Jags, I think, have a lot of star potential on their defense. That's probably not outside of Foye. And it's probably okay. But I do think those top three guys are very important, Hamby, of really staying healthy and being productive and getting out of them what they think they can get out of them. Either that or somebody like a Tavai or Bernie is going to have to step up, or they're going to have to make a trade or whatever it is, because I don't know what's on the roster here that you're really like, oh, I got a lot of faith in that.
Yeah, I think, but if you're playing Sunshine and Rainbows guy, you start to imagine what the defense would look like, or how different the defense will look like, if Branson really can be as sticky in coverage as we've heard and seen in small samples. As good as Devin was last year, he still wasn't great in coverage. It just wasn't his game. He was just so good at everything else last year, and the ball found him, that you overlooked some of the times where the tight end ran right behind him and caught a ball over the middle. That wasn't big of a deal, because he was going to come back and make a play. So do you get the flash? Do you get the turnovers? Do you get the sacks with this new duo of Ventrell and Branson Combs? Probably not. But if Combs, again, can be sticky, and the tight end is not something that we just like – everybody knows it. If there was a good tight end coming to Jacksonville or on the road, doesn't matter, it's like, chalk them up, go ahead and stream them in fantasy. They're at least going to go for six balls and 60 yards. That was kind of the vibe. Well, if that's no longer the vibe, because Branson can go and cover a tight end or even help out in the slot a little. I don't think you want him to do that, but if you need him to, that changes your defense, and that changes the entire vibe around the defense. That's something that the Jacksonville Jaguars have had in a really long time.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, we'll see. I agree with you. I think it's kind of be fascinating with all this the wrinkles that they have on defense. Seeing Branson Combs out there, he's been good at coverage. He's been good. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like an interception machine, but we'll take good coverage. That's a hard thing to find. It really is. Like, everybody's like, I haven't had that in Jacksonville. It's a hard thing to find. Like, it's a mismatch. Like, there's a reason there are mismatches. It's like offensive coordinators want that. They want tight ends and running backs on that linebacker for a reason. So if you can do that and you're on the field at the right times to do that, I think there's something that is very beneficial. Hey, I want to mention, while we were talking to the Iceman guys, which was nice of them to stop by, there's a couple of plays that caught my attention. Jarian Jones made a nice play. Bryce Young to Evans on a blown coverage would have been a touchdown. So it's not all good. I'm not giving you all the good. But so far, I feel like there's been a lot of good. We mentioned the red zone earlier in the show, if you missed that. And I want to get back to that in just a moment. But there's also a nice throw from Nick Mullins to Josh Cameron, and a run from, I still don't know who the heck the running back was from. Travis Hunter is having some fun right now with the crowd. Look at him dancing. Travis Hunter, the guy can't sit still. I think he just kicked a field goal. I missed the early part of that. He gives Cam Little a high five. He's got, just to set the scene, I'm trying to, let's see, I'll do my best on this. But Cam Little's at about the 15-yard line, just kicking some field goals and extra points, and very short. Travis Hunter pops by, and I missed the early part of this, but I think he kicked it through, made it, and then starts running around, because this is a lull period right now. They're doing special teams on the near field, so people are just kind of standing around. And then he starts dancing like you saw him dance after the touchdown against the Saints, and obviously the crowd's loving it. It's just, and Noah Schlitzer brought this up the other day, and it's really a good observation that the guy just can't stand still. Like, he just can't sit still. And I think that was just another example of it right there. But he's fun, and he brings the juice, and he brings the personality. I don't know if I ever finished my thought about Nick Mullins to Josh Cameron. I thought that was a nice play, which means Mullins is obviously back at practice. And it was a little fist bump after that. Mullins could use a good practice and a good week to get the fans off him at the very least, and maybe even for the coaches in the backup spot. And I think that's everything that I caught. We're going to find out from Austen in a moment. He's going to check back in and see what he's seeing out there. Overall, I will tell you that I think this has been a pretty good practice so far for the Jacksonville Jaguars. From my vantage point, I want to get Austen's thoughts. Austen, we're 45 minutes into this thing, 45 minutes into our show, or really like an hour or so into this practice. If you can hear me over there, which it looks like he might have just froze up. So we'll get him back in a moment. I think it's a pretty good practice.
Yeah, nothing service.
And the other thing that catches my attention until we get Austen in is the fact that the red zone work, I think, is really important. Like, I think if you marry good teams with the red zone success, you're going to see a correlation. And I go back to 2017, and I forget the numbers exactly. But when 17, obviously the Jags had an amazing season, and it was led by Saxonville. But they also had the 6th best offense in the National Football League, buoyed by a really good run game. And then Blake Bortles, I think his numbers were something like 18 touchdowns and no interceptions in the red zone. Or maybe it was 1 interception. So that was 10 years ago. But I think last year when the Jags got going, you're good in the red zone. You're not settling for field goals, all those things. So I think being good in the red zone is really important if you're going to be a really good football team. And it looks like, at least in this camp, if there's something I'm starting to take away, is the Jags have been very good in the red zone. So that's a good sign. All right, Austin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you, man.
All right, give us a little bit of an update from your eyes over the last half hour or so since you last left us.
Yeah, I mean, kind of more of the same, right? The red zone offense looking super efficient. Saw a couple touchdowns. Travis Hunter now, I guess, is auditioning to be a field goal kicker as well. I think he hit one maybe from like 35 to 40 yards out, and then proceeded to do a 5-minute dance number that I almost tore my hamstring just watching him, so that was pretty impressive. But, I think overall, the physicality from the Jaguars, especially in that first run that you saw where the fight happened, it was a little bit in question, but I think they kind of found their footing now, Brent, a little bit. Now you're seeing a more physical team.
Good stuff. Hey, we can hear you. We're just gonna adjust your mic, so stay with us. I'm gonna ask you a question while you're doing that, and we're gonna try it. Let's go one more question with him, Hamby. I know it's a little scuffly right now, but hey, how do you feel like the Jags would be happy with this practice so far if it ended right now?
I mean, happy. It's such a. I really don't know, man, because I'm not sure what it was yesterday. I think they've improved. Now, whether that's going to make Liam Coen happy to say, you know what, we've seen enough. The ones don't have to play for the preseason game. I'm not sure we're to that point quite yet, but I think we've seen an improvement. So if improving means Liam Cohen's going to be happy, then sure.
Yeah. All right. Hey, they're about to go back to work. I don't want you to miss any of it. So you go do that. We'll check back in with you probably after the practice session. And I know you're going to catch up with Albert Regis. So thanks for popping in.
Well, so correction. So actually, Albert Regis is not practicing today. So I'm going to be catching up with Chris Rodriguez instead.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Good audible right there. Yeah. I did not notice. There's no injury report there or anything like that on Regis? Did they tell you? Well, that you could share. Anything?
Yeah. I mean,
on that?
Yes. So all I know is that Albert Regis isn't practicing today, and he will not be, he will not be available for interviews. So that's all I know at this moment, Brent.
Okay. All right. Good deal. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Back to you guys.
That'd be a good one, though. Chris Rodriguez. We'll see about Chris Rodriguez. And by the way, that's yeah, back to us. We got it. And good reporting on the Albert Regis front. But that happened to us yesterday, actually. We were going to get Wyatt Milam yesterday, and then he was listed as day-to-day, and so we didn't get Wyatt Milam. So when the guys don't practice, they don't allow them to talk, which makes some sense. But I've not seen that yet. That Regis wasn't out here. So that's an interesting development. I don't know if we'll get an update on that now, but pretty notable that he's not practicing. And obviously, this time of year, you get like the Parker Washington stuff. It's like, okay, well, how severe is it? Well, probably not majorly severe. I don't think they're super concerned about it, but why risk it? And I think the same goes for a young player like Regis. And when you're a young player like Regis, you start to factor in, okay, well, wait, how much can he miss and still contribute? He's been at camp the entire time. I don't think he's missed a practice yet. So this is his first one. Let's see if he can make it back for Friday, or if now they'll hold him out. Because it would be nice to see Regis play again on Friday. It would have been nice to see him in this setting, too, as a young player that flashed a bit on Thursday night. So Saturday night, I guess, in New Orleans Saints. All right, let's do this. I want to make sure we stay on time. And, well, no, we don't have to hit a break just yet. We'll hit the break more toward the top of the hour. Coming up here in the Brent and Austen show. Practice scheduled to end about 11:15. We will hear from, you won't, but Trevor Lawrence and Liam Coen, so we'll have that a little bit later tonight. Also, Chris Rodriguez, obviously. Devin Lloyd is scheduled to talk on the podium for the Carolina Panthers, so hopefully we'll have a little bit of that and see what his return to Jacksonville is like. And I think we're catching up with Brent Martineau today as well. Yeah, I don't understand, Hamby. Why did the mic work just fine the first time around, and then not so good on Austin and Chandler?
It's a great question, but I will say
Operator error.
I am wondering if it wasn't the 8 pounds of sweat that was dripping down his neck into his shirt that maybe could have played a potential role.
All right, we got another fight going on right here. Okay,
Here we go.
I can't tell who got popped. I want to say it's. Let me just check. I can't tell who did the popping either. It's on the.
It's already broken up.
And now bodies. It's now broken up. But so what happened is the Jags receiver is over the middle. It could have been C.J. Williams, or I don't think it was Josh Cameron. I want to say it might have been 18. Don't. That's not gospel. And someone, after the play went incomplete, I think it was, someone really popped him. He hits the ground, basically completed. In fact, he's still on one knee. Let's check out. It might be Cameron. Is that Josh Cameron or C.J. Williams? Josh Cameron.
I thought it was Josh. I'm zooming in.
So we'll check out who it is. I couldn't make out who the back was for.
No, it's Tim Jones. It's Tim Jones.
It's Tim Jones. Okay. So Tim Jones. Now he's slow to get up, but he just got up and walked off. But he got popped. I mean, he got completed, and then by whoever the back was, defensive back, and then Trammell came in and popped that guy, and then we had a little bit of a little rugby scrum.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
But nothing that's lasted more than
that's
10
two.
seconds.
Nah. The first one was probably a little bit better than that one. And I still think if I'm weighing them, I think the Saints one was the best last week. Nice.
Oh, that was Morig then.
Oh, was it Borg? Okay. What do you think? Sack there?
Yeah, no, it was 100% BJ.
BJ Green? Yeah. Mia's standing next to me, and Bryce Young just hit whoever for a touchdown. Nice throw. Looked like he eluded the sack, but in this side setting, but Mia said that would have been a BJ Green sack. So
there we go.
You have that a little bit here, right? Remember last week it was the Travis Hunter Olave play, which I still think has significance. Andy, it's all up for interpretation. But yes, Trayvon Walker was in his lap, he would have crushed.
Oh, no doubt.
Tyler Shuck last week, right? We know that, but then there's the other part of it where you got a chance to go make a play on a ball for Travis Hunter. To me, okay, in the grand scheme of things, it would have been a sack, but it's still, you're measuring two different things there, and it's an opportunity for Hunter to go make a play against Olave, and he just missed it, which is fine. It's practice. It happens. It happens at the quarterback position. But I just don't think you dismiss the play overall.
Yeah.
Because I actually think there are two different levels of the play. The corner doesn't know that the guy just got sacked, so you want to be sticky as possible and go make a play, and that was. Same goes right here, but that one would have been a sack. I think the Jags have shown some things on the defensive front. I told you in live action earlier, Josh Hines-Allen, just totally beat a double team. And if he didn't get the sack, Eric Armstead would have cleaned it up. And you saw that tandem working together. I would say this is maybe an underrated part of camp so far, because we didn't have this last year, but it sounds like Eric Armstead is doing some nice things in camp. I think they're pretty happy with him. And I think from some of the players that we've been able to talk to, I think they're noticing him. And again, he wasn't out here in a lot of the team session stuff last year, so we really didn't get a feel. But I think that's notable now. They need Eric Armstead to be good, but I've also brought up a row several times. And obviously you can kick Trayvon Walker in and mix up these packages, but we're all looking at that interior. And where are they going to get the penetration? We are not talking about the depth at edge rusher as much as we were 5 months ago. But one thing we're still curious about on that defense is that internal pass rush, right? Interior pass rush. And I think so far there's been some good flashes and signs, nothing to get super excited about. But I do think from Armstead to a row, in my opinion, the last Saturday and even today a couple of times I've seen, I think it's a very positive sign. And then, of course, we think Trayvon Walker could do damage there. It's just a matter of how much they play him there and how much they want to move him around.
Yeah, and I kind of go back to when Austin and I did our sack projections. I guess that was 2 weeks ago now. It's not, you don't need 15 sacks from anybody on the interior to feel like you took a big step forward. Armstead, I think, had 5.5 last year, and there was nothing behind him at the 3-tech spot. And obviously, Devon, it's just not his game. So from the interior as a total package, I think you had 6.5 sacks. Well, if Armstead just has a repeat year, 5.5 or 6, and you get a rower just to throw you 3 or 4, well, you're almost doubled your interior pass rush production, at least specifically for sacks, as you did last year. I don't even need sacks. I don't think anybody even needs sacks. Just get to the quarterback. If we could up the pressures, if a row has 0 sacks in 2026, if he still has a ton of pressures, A+, because all we got. How many times last year did we? Well, I know, and I'm trying to make a point. But how many times did we see the opposing quarterback step up, and Josh and Trayvon have no shot on the edge because there's no threat of interior pass rush? So if he can at least push the pocket and force the quarterback to stay deep and not be able to step up, well, that's going to be 3, 4, 5 more sacks for Josh and Trayvon each. So, again, this is especially the interior is not one to be weighed solely by sacks. I don't think any position is, but especially not the 3 technique spot.
Hey, we're getting some good teamwork in right now, just to give you guys a little bit of an illustration of what's going on. A little throwback to, it looks like facial Tootin in some open space. Probably would have been a face mask, too, on Carolina. I think that's Tootin. Running backs are hard to tell what their numbers are sometimes, and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. But previous play, a couple of plays ago now, looked like Trevor might have been sacked with some pressure on the right side, then got to Borkacher, who seems like in these practices has made a lot of catches, like more than he did all of last season in college. So, and then he got popped at the end of that, but there was nothing, no melee. He just took it and got back up. It was pretty nice. It was a short play. It wasn't anything long. And over here on this field, the Jags defense is working. It's just hard not to notice BJ Green. I mean, it just seems like every rush is like an important rep for BJ Green, and he's playing the Super Bowl or something because there's no let up. And Hamby, you saw our post-game show on Saturday night, and we got BJ Green in the locker room. And it hit me a little bit there. We kind of already knew this, but it just, a little bit of an exclamation point on the thought that when you see guys playing with confidence, like you look and sound like BJ Green. Mm-hmm. And like, that's a guy that a year ago, I don't know how much confidence you can play with. You should certainly be confident in your game, but the swagger that goes along with that, puffing out your chest a little bit. You need to do what you did last year and then duplicate it in the spring and duplicate it in practices and then go have another impact play in games. But he is just playing with a world of confidence right now. You can see it. Like, it is oozing out of him, which is a beautiful thing from that position, especially. I just think they're going to have a hard time keeping him off the field because every time he's on the field, it seems like something good happens.
Which is insane, and would be such a huge boost to have a third edge rusher give you real production. I think these guys talk about year to year, one of the biggest changes, especially in year 2 of any system is, they all say it, so it's got to be true, the ability to play faster and to think less. Especially for a UDFA coming out of Colorado. He gets into a Campanile system, and he was great last year in training camp. But at the same time, he would tell you he was playing slow, that he's thinking out there. And that's one of the biggest adjustments, biggest wins that a guy can have going from year 1 to year 2 is to know the system, to know their roles, to have a lot better expectations of what they're going to see from the tackles that are opposite them on the offensive line and to be able to rush free. And that's what he says that the biggest difference is from year 1 to year 2. If you ask him, he said it multiple times this offseason. I don't got to think. I just go out there and play because I know what I'm supposed to do. And if he can go do that and give you – if he can add into that 4, 5, 6 sacks, again, you're going to be – this is going to be a totally different pass rushing team going from, what was it, I think 32 sacks last year. It's 30th in the National Football League or 28th, I think, when we had the discussion. You're going to see it get up to the middle of the ranks at the very minimum if B.J. Green can get into that total and contribute, and a row can also give you some QB pressures.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, just to reset a little bit, at the top of the hour, we're live at Jags headquarters for the joint practice between the Jags and the Carolina Panthers. Nick Mullins just basically sacked on the play on the far field. The offense is working against Carolina's defense. And then on this near field here, closer to us, the Carolina offense against the Jaguars defense. A couple of highlights of two what I would call minor scuffles so far for these joint practices. No crazy melees like you saw in the Dallas and who was that? The Saints in Dallas practice yesterday. So we haven't seen that, and that's probably a good thing. I think that's a little bit much when you see that. But guys like B.J. Green continue to show up. I think Jerry Jones continues to show up on defense. Josh Hines-Allen had a hell of a pass rush to beat a double team earlier, like in live action. Looks like we got an interception, and Nick Mullins actually hit the ground on the play. So I think he was probably under duress. I didn't see the front end of it, but then an interception for Carolina with the second teamers in. And now as I bring up Jerry and Jones, he just gives up a reception. Is that Tet McMillan? Yep. Yeah, that was Tet McMillan right there. Will these guys unravel their jerseys so we can see them, please? I mean, it's not that hard to ask. Golly, it should be a rule, like you can't tuck your jersey in with some of these positions. So that's some of the highlights. Again, I think worth noting, the red zone, fantastic for the Jags first-team offense. Trevor Lawrence just darting up teams the last two joint practices in the red zone to see if we get some more work in. I think that's a wonderful sign for this Jags offense. He's comfortable. That shows me he's comfortable with what they're calling, what they're doing, how he's seeing it. I mean, everybody saw the Philadelphia Eagles red zone play from Jalen Hurts. I mean, you see the traffic in there for a quarterback. But when you're making it look easy at that part of the field right now, I think that's a good sign. It's a good trend. I asked Liam Coen last week in our production meeting, I said, hey, has this been a little bit similar to what you've seen in practice anyway, not just the joint practice? Have you been doing well in the red zone? I think I actually might ask him on the podium after the practice. And he said, yeah. He said, we've been pretty good in that area. So great sign for the Jags, in my opinion, that they've been good on offense in the red zone. Everybody's curious about the run game. I don't know if we're seeing a whole lot, although I think it was Tootin who broke off a really nice run. They also had a little pass back to him, not a screen, but it was kind of a rollout and then back threw it back the other way. He got in some space and did his thing a little bit. That could have been a big gainer and also had a face mask attached to it. So I think we're seeing some nice things out of Tootin so far today. But I have to get Austin back in here to say how you feel about the actual run game. And as I say that, Chris Rodriguez breaks up probably a handful of yards on a nice run through the left side. Big story that we're following in Jacksonville, obviously, is the offensive line injuries. They make a trade today with the New York Giants and Falele, right? Yeah, Falele.
Don't add one on just because of Aroro.
I know. Aroro Falele. Yeah, they make it easy. But that's a fun one. And they make that acquisition for reportedly a 2027 late round pick. It's a depth play. I don't know if that's going to get you excited. I don't think it's a plug and play. It's a starter type deal. I think it's a depth play because the Jags right now have a lot of issues. Austin told us at one time the offensive line today in the starting five was Anton Harrison, Pregnon at left guard, Hainsey at center, right guard was Ezra Cleveland, and right tackle was Walker Little. So that's interesting. You just broke that up. That's Travis Hunter. Had to be a crowd. Had to be when you heard that. That was a nice play by Travis Hunter down the sideline and deflects it. The crowd goes crazy for Travis Hunter, who also has kicked the field goal in this practice. And put on a nice dance and exhibition for the crowd. One other highlight to tell you about before we hit a break, and then we hopefully will come back and be able to share some more. I thought it was interesting. Felipe Franks caught a touchdown. Helmet gets ripped off and basically just turns to the crowd like the evil, the heel in WWE and takes a bunch of boos from the crowd. Like it was
awesome.
Wild. Like it was just a fun moment.
They should be cheering him. One of the best quarterbacks in recent memory at the University of Florida.
I'll tell you what, I'm really stunned that Felipe Franks has made a transition. We were up in Atlanta Falcons camp.
Yeah.
When the Jags practiced against the Falcons, we were up there, I forget how many years ago now. And
at least 2 or 3.
He was transitioning to tight end. And here he is still in the league playing tight end. Like, good for him. I mean, that's obviously something like Tebow tried to come back late in his career and do. It's not easy to do. We see a lot of transition to tight end. Zach Miller did a nice job of it with the Jags, had a good career and then went to Chicago, went from quarterback to that. But not easy to do that. And the Jaguars, Carolina obviously seeing something in Felipe Franks. And he showed up a couple of times at practice here.
That
already.
was 2022 when he was with Atlanta.
Okay, 22. And that was, I think, at the early stages of his training to tight end. Hey, guess who else keeps showing up in practice, by the way? Trevor Lawrence just hit probably a 25, 30-yarder to Austin Trammell. Trammell getting a lot of reps right now in the position of Parker Washington. I think Austin mentioned that, and that makes some sense. But Trammell is a guy that they are going to have a hell of a time getting rid of. I know C.J. Williams and Josh Cameron have been very good. They like him. They drafted him. There's a lot to like. But Austin Trammell, he can do in the punt return game, at least as a safety valve for you in that area, and he just continues to make plays. And that's been an ongoing thing in camp. I know that's not a super sexy thing for everyone in Jags Nation, but it's just a real deal. He was good at times last year. The Raiders game, I think, comes to mind for me last year with Austin Trammell. And he's a guy that they are going – he might be one of the toughest decisions that this group has to make, depending on their numbers game, is Austin Trammell, and he just showed up in a big way right there once again. Before I hit a break, I want to see how the Jags do here. They're in the far, far end of the field, like binocular time for us. But they're in the red zone, and looks like a pretty good push on the right side on a run play. Always hard to tell, but I would say a few yards at a minimum, and maybe up to a handful of yards there. Looked like, I think Rodriguez was the ball carrier on that play. So they've been so good in this era. I'm now just wondering if they're just going to score touchdowns every time they're down there, at least in these practice sessions. Meanwhile, here, Bryce Young hits Tet McMillan again, and McMillan has been very good. It's an interesting deal to watch Hunter and McMillan, because if the Jags had stuck to their spot in the draft 2 years ago now and stayed at number 5, would they have drafted McMillan? Instead, they move up and go get Travis Hunter for a myriad of reasons, and obviously it's under the microscope. But Carolina, I think, got McMillan at number 7, maybe it was 8 or 9, but he's been good for him. And now the Jags are doing fine at wide receiver. So it's not like, hey, they need a lot of help. They're doing fine. So I don't think they regret the decision at all. I just think it's an interesting deal to see both of them out on the field here, because easily could have been a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars for Tet McMillan. I think he just caught a touchdown again. He looks a little unstoppable. Looks a little bit like Chris Olave last week for the New Orleans Saints. And McMillan having himself a nice day. All right, for real, I'm going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll put a bow on this practice. It's scheduled to end in the next 10 minutes or so. We'll hear from Austin, and we will continue to recap what's going on. Fun day for the joint practice session between the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Attention Jacksonville drivers, we heard you loud and clear. You told us oil changes were taking too long, and we listened. That's why we're proud to introduce our brand new Nimnik Express service. We've added additional staff so you can get your oil change without ever having to book an appointment. Just pull into our express lane and we'll take care of it. In the neighborhood, running errands, just realized you're overdue, just stop on in. No appointments, pull in, get out, get going. Nobody but Nimnik.
Does it better, plays harder, or delivers more sports than CBS 47, Fox 30, and streaming on Action Sports Jax 24/7. The only local, multi-platform, round-the-clock streaming sports show in Jacksonville.
Yeah, thanks, Brent and Austin. I really appreciate you having me on.
From high school football, college game days, the AFC,
wide open, caught for a touchdown.
The NFC,
he gets there, touchdown, Seattle.
The PGA,
unbelievable.
World Cup soccer, NASCAR,
Denny Hamlin, big time victory in Nashville.
Baseball,
fly ball deep center, Edmonds going back, the ball is going long.
Local Jag shows.
You feel the energy in here? There should be energy. Jags are in the middle of a playoff race.
And of course, your official stations of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Lloyd, pick 6, breaks a tackle, touchdown Jacksonville.
We have all the sports, the exclusive interviews.
We got the best fans in the NFL.
The biggest games, the live events to help make your business soar. So hold on and see why live sports is where you need to be. On CBS 47, Fox 30, and streaming on Action Sports Jax 24/7. 24/7. Get in the game.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
What a throw! Touchdown, Jaguars!
We're coming for you.
They're going to get him on the ground, and that's going to end the ball game.
We show no mercy.
Lawrence looking deep in the end zone. Touchdown! Duval! ETN is going to take it all the way!
Right here on CBS 47.
CBS 47.
Right here. Your official station of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And the Jaguars strike first.
Go Jags.
It can be a silent killer, but awareness is getting louder. Blood clots take more lives each year than car crashes. And just like driving, you have to be defensive. A few easy ways to protect yourself or someone you love are to learn your Caprini risk score and ask your doctor about your blood clot prevention plan. Emily's Promise is a local nonprofit named for Emily Atkins, a young woman from Fernandina Beach who died after a preventable blood clot following a broken ankle. Her legacy is now driving change across Florida. The Emily Atkins Family Protection Act strengthens how hospitals screen for clot risks and train staff to recognize warning signs. Blood clots can affect anyone, including athletes, and the signs can be easy to miss. So be aware, be defensive, and help beat a silent killer with loud attention to risk factors and symptoms. Learn more at emilypromises.com. That's emilypromises.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Devin Lloyd before practice, and obviously he's been out here, and to be honest with you, I haven't really seen a whole lot on the other field from Devin Lloyd. Haven't really looked that hard. But we'll have some reports on Devin Lloyd. He's scheduled to talk to the media after, so it'll be nice to get some of his thoughts. I really enjoyed Devin in his 4 years here. I really expected more in the first 3, obviously, and then, wow, what a season last year. It was just magical, really, what happened with Devin Lloyd last year. Brent Martineau, along with Austen Lane and the entire Action Sports Jax team here at practice. Jason Hamby, somebody has to push the buttons back there, and Jason Hamby doing a good job of that. I'm trying to avoid some of the sun here as it's creeping in on the upper deck, but what a great spot to be for this practice. You can really see over both fields. We've been trying to give you as much as possible. It's just talking about the practice overall. I gave you headlines before the break, but the overall stuff of this practice with a couple of thousand fans probably here, good crowd. They've been loud at times. Is that the Jags got off to a fast start in practice. I would say the last 15 minutes or so, it feels like Carolina maybe has had a little bit more of the upper hand, especially with their offense over the Jags defense. That's just a quick observation while I'm sitting here talking. So what does it mean? I have no idea. I just think this one overall feels pretty good to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Much better than the feel of the Saints one. Like in real time, we kind of knew what that was. You guys asked me last week when I jumped on with you at the end of that practice, did they win the practice or lose it? It's like, no, both sides lost that practice. They salvaged it with a good red zone area, and that was about it. So this one, I feel like, I don't know if it's a win. It's just you feel like better about it. I won't say they're dominating. And I just think there's a good back and forth, what you would kind of expect if you're grading out of practice. Right now, they're working on special teams. So we showcased Devin Lloyd a little bit. And Hamby, you brought up something, I haven't seen this, but there was an article today or yesterday or recently about Devin Lloyd. What is it?
Yeah, it came out this morning from Mike K of ESPN. I know I saw it originally because D-Rock retweeted it. Yep. And the headline kind of got me. It was a non-negotiable that was in Devin Lloyd's contract negotiations in free agency, and I was like, I don't know what that could have been. Like other than it's obviously not a monetary thing. So what was this non-negotiable? I mean, it's not like it's a no-trade clause or anything like that. At the end of the day, he's going to Carolina. If you're going to Carolina, you're not going to have a no-trade clause or anything like that. So what was this non-negotiable that Devin Lloyd wanted in his contract? It was the green dot. He's going to be the green dot guy in the middle of the Panthers' defense, and he said that was a non-negotiable. If I wasn't going to be given the green dot as the captain of the defense, I wasn't going to go there. But I thought that was really interesting. The only quote from him on it says, quote, "I always practiced wearing the green dot in Jacksonville. I played with the green dot in a couple of games. I loved it. That was a non-negotiable in free agency." I think that's a little bit surprising and could help us kind of put some pieces together of what his free agency looked like.
It's an interesting observation, and interesting from Mike K, who, by the way, used to work here in Jacksonville and does a nice job covering the Carolina Panthers. He's been around. I think he was with the Eagles prior to that, and I think he just recently got the DeRocco kind of gig with ESPN. So congrats to him. But that's an interesting note, and what catches my attention is always it's fascinating to me a lot of times what goes into contract negotiations. I think I saw one recently that like Shohei Ohtani, when you we were talking about this in the sports office the other day, right? Where I was like, when you have leverage, and Shohei Ohtani puts like in his contract, like if the owner is not there, I've got an option out. Well, they've got this whole thing going on with the whole LA Dodgers owner, the Lakers sale, all that stuff. And so it actually might be a notable thing that Shohei Ohtani could use an option to get out of the contract. Now, why would he? I don't know, but he could. So I'm like, gosh, who thinks of these things? Like, right, that puts that in. Meanwhile, we negotiate contracts in our world, and it's like, hey, can I get another $50?
50 cents.
50 cents, whatever. But it's just so funny. Some of the things that go in, like, why would that go into in like a non-negotiable? I don't know if it's in a contract, but at least a non-negotiable
right.
of doing that. And so now the reality of it was he wasn't getting that here. Foye Oluwakin's got that. You can practice with it. But Foye Oluwakin's the quarterback of that defense. And quite frankly, there are a few better in the NFL, at least at quarterbacking the defense, than Foye Oluwakin. And there are times in his career where Devin Lloyd just quite frankly wouldn't have been ready to do that anyway. But the other part of that to me is this is the missing part that I never got out of Lloyd that I thought we would get from Lloyd. He was an unbelievable leader at Utah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Go back and watch the stories. I mean, they had some tragedy there, the way he handled it, the way he led that locker room. When Stuart Weber, I'll never forget it, when Stuart Weber got the interview with him in Vegas at the draft, because the Jags jumped back into that round, and that was a Trayvon Walker draft, and Trayvon wasn't there. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. The Jags jumped back in. Stewart gets the interview with him. We're there for it, all that stuff with all our coverage. And he was awesome in that interview. I was like, man, you can like feel, this is what I remember saying, you can feel Devin Lloyd. Like there are just some people in life that if you're around them and in their presence, you can feel them. And I thought that was Devin Lloyd. And not to say it's not him. I just don't know if we ever fully saw that in Jacksonville. Some of that because maybe he was a young player. Some of that because of the struggles. Didn't he miss like one of the early camps with an injury? I think he missed a lot of camp. Some of that was, well, because you got Foye Oluwakin, he's doing that. So you don't want to overstep your bounds. So it's not stunning for me to hear him say, hey, I want more control of this. I want to be a leader on this defense. I want you to acknowledge me as a leader on this defense. And that's what it's going to be. And because I think that's what he was at Utah, and that's where he was really comfortable doing that. And I think that's really a strength of his. That's what my impression was. Now we'll find out because the green dot is more than leadership. It's being able to quarterback, like I said, being able to communicate. And I'm not sure that was always a strength here in Jacksonville at times. But you grow as a player, you mature as a player, you get better as a player, you understand things a little bit differently. And maybe at this stage of his career, he'll be very good. I'm fascinated to see the next year, which is this year for Devin Lloyd. He had a year that, quite frankly, I don't think he'll duplicate. I don't think anybody will duplicate. Like,
Right.
it was an unbelievable season from a linebacker position and kind of out of nowhere for Devin Lloyd to go from, hey, we really like this guy. I hope he contributes well. Hope he's going to play. Are they even going to trade him? What are they doing? Why is he still playing deep into preseason games? To, holy cow, that was unexpected, right? And he changed games, helped win football games from the weak side linebacker spot, much like Kelvin Smith did, I think, in 2017. But we know that it's very unlikely he can do that again to that degree. But can he be a strong player, a very good player, worthy of that contract kind of player? Will the Jags miss him? Really, that's the more important part. Good for Devin Lloyd. I wish him well. Hope he has a great career. The part here is, can they replace him? Do they need to replace him? How much production do they have to replace to feel good? And that's why it's a major storyline here in Jacksonville. It's one of the things, along with Achane, that they had to replace. And I think they have the ability to replace the production of Travis Achane, even if it's by committee. I don't think anybody really has the ability to replace the exact production of Devin Lloyd last year in terms of splash plays, because I really think that was a unicorn.
I agree. And I want to highlight a couple of I want to highlight the Panthers roster really quickly, because I don't think that a lot of people think they're very good because of the last couple of years they have. And I'm not here to say they're going to do anything spectacular, but let's remember where they were at the end of last year. And they got some players now. I mean, Bryce Young, I think a lot of people are starting to wake up that he could be pretty good. And Canales is getting more out of him. Obviously, week 1 last year, Bryce Young didn't look good, and the Jags beat him. But down the stretch last year, he not to the same extent, but he kind of had a season trajectory similar to Trevor Lawrence, where those last 7 or 8 games, he really came on strong. At the running back position, Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks. Brooks was one of the top running backs drafted 2 years ago. Didn't play at all last year. Didn't play at all. So they think they really have something there. And then you have Trevor Achane, the brother of Travis, the former Florida Gator turned Georgia Bulldog, also in the backfield. And then obviously you got Tet McMillan, like we've said. The Panthers are really high on Jalen Coker. They think he's another big-bodied receiver who can go up and get it. And then they have one of the most hilarious dudes in the league, Xavier Legette. We haven't heard from him at all. I know his rookie year, he was kind of taking the world by storm with all of the accents and all that stuff. But I think they like him, and they think that he can do a lot of stuff. Then on defense, really quick. Oh, Robert Hunt also. We forget, Devin Lloyd wasn't. Yeah. They had 3 huge free agent signings. Devin Lloyd, Robert Hunt at right guard, and Trayvon Moehrig, the safety we mentioned earlier. Those were 3 $40 million.
Just last year?
I believe.
I thought Hunt was a couple years ago now. No, I think it's a couple years ago. Because I was surprised the Jags didn't go after him.
Oh, that's right. Because you wanted him. I remember you saying his name a lot. Let me look what that deal is. Yeah. Robert Hunt's contract.
It's a big deal.
5 years, $100 million.
Yeah, but, I mean, look, he's good.
He is.
I mean, how good are you trying to be on the offensive line? And I think that would have been, I feel like it was at least 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I was off on that.
Miami.
Yeah, 2024.
Yeah, so, it was 24. So, actually, that was a bulky year. And that's why I was a bit surprised maybe he didn't make a run at him. That's what I thought. He's been there for a bit now. And so I always was like, man, I thought that's the one signing that they, I don't know about miss. It's a lot of money. So I'd have to go back and figure it out. But I knew at that time, I was like, man, that could be a good investment, right, for the next however many years. He's really good. Hard to get, like, top-flight guard play.
Right.
And he was one coming out, after spending time in Miami. Practice has ended, by the way. I think it just ended with a field goal.
Okay.
And so now everybody departs. Just give you an update on that.
To put a bow on the Panthers roster, though, they have one stud on every level of defense. They don't have a defense full of studs, but at every level. They have Derek Brown on the interior. He's a top 3 interior guy in the NFL. They got Lloyd at the linebacker spot. Regardless of what you think he will do, replicate, he's still a stud. at the linebacker spot. They have Jalen Phillips off the edge. They believe they're going to get a lot of sacks from Jalen Phillips, former Eagle.
You think
And
Tom
then-
would have let us in the cooling room?
And then Morig at safety and J.C. Horn at corner. So at every single spot, they feel like they have a guy. Oh, wow. How about this on the roster? Travis Gibson is still on the roster.
Gibson. How
I
about
forgot
that?
about
Isn't it funny?
Travis.
I know. I saw that this morning or last night. I was like, oh, wow, he's still on that. He's still floating around.
I remember
but
when
yeah,
they brought him in,
I
we thought
agree
he
with
was
what
going to
you're
give
saying.
4 or 5 sacks from the. He's going to be our new edge 3 and all that, and yeesh, that didn't really
Hey,
work out, did it?
It was 2 years ago. They came here in December. The Jags obviously couldn't win games at that point, right, because they were struggling with all their injuries. But they beat Carolina. Like, Carolina was inept. And they beat them, 20-0 or 6 or 3 or something. I think it was 20-0. I don't quite remember the score. But their defense that year, though, was very good. Like, even though they weren't good, their defense was very good. And so, to your point, they do have players at various levels. And I think their defense will continue to be good in that South. Like, the NFC South, the Saints haven't been good, but their defense has been pretty good. And notably good. And Carolina has been like that at times. But to your point, the emergence of Bryce Young is really interesting. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a comp that I don't know. It can be like, hey, this is him on the rise, because I thought his career was done early. And I think many other people did at one point. Or is it a little Blake Bortles-esque where he got hot for a year and it really flashed? Because that's what happened to Blake in 2017, where he played some of the best football in the National Football League in December to help the Jags win the AFC South that year. But then it just couldn't duplicate it, couldn't find it again. And so I'm curious of that with Bryce Young, because we've seen the floor and the ceiling, or at least close to both. And so I just don't know where it sits right now. But certainly if I'm a Carolina fan, I'm excited about it because I saw it for a pretty good sample size. And then, you got your guy in Canales and him working together, and maybe they finally figured it out. But, I mean, if he becomes a really good quarterback in the National Football League, first of all, against the odds at his height, but it really becomes a good story. They literally benched him either early last year or 2 years ago, I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Before he came back. I mean, they basically benched him, and he came back and then delivered. So he could be a really neat story in how he bounced back there. Hey, let's go deliver some of the headlines of this Jags practice with Carolina. I know we've said it a few times, but I don't want to assume everybody was in here for the last 90 minutes. As the practice has now ended, and we'll hear from a bunch of folks. Austin's going to catch up with Chris Rodriguez. We probably won't have that interview, be able to flip it around until tomorrow on the show, or even a little bit tonight on First and 10 training camp at 11:15 on CBS 47, Fox 30. Scheduled to hear from Trevor, from Liam, obviously from Devin Lloyd as well. We're going to catch up with Brent Combs too, and Chris Rodriguez. So a lot of action from here coming your way with Action Sports Jacks throughout the day and into the night, and then again tomorrow on the Brent and Austin Show, where I think we're debuting a new look tomorrow on the Brent and Austin Show. A little teaser for that. Some of the headlines, if you're ready. Some of the, if we're ready. Some of the headlines here, I think Jags started fast. I like the intensity. I think there was some urgency. They looked really good at the outset of practice. It wasn't domination, but I think they had the upper hand. There were plays like Josh Hines-Allen breaking through a double team. Eric Armstead cleaned up the sack, even if Josh didn't get to it, but it was a dominant rep. Jarian Jones, I thought, flashed early on. They smothered some of the receivers. On the offensive side, it was an offensive line that at one time had Anton Harrison, Pregnon, Hainsey, Ezra Cleveland at right guard, and Walker Little at right tackle. As I've been talking, I don't know how many reps were like that on the far field. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more either reporting on that, or Austin can fill us in a little bit more how much he saw. There's so much to watch. I thought Bashal Tootin flashed a little bit today in the run game, even in the short pass game, and then was able to break some things. There was a nice pass from Nick Mullins to Josh Cameron. Austin Trammell, not only did he have that 25, 30-yard catch, and we were bragging about his camp, he then finished it off with a touchdown catch too. Trevor Lawrence really good in the red zone down here earlier in practice, where he's just darting people up. Myers, Borkature, I think it was Borkature, and
Strange.
Maybe that was Brent and Strange. I think it was Brent and Strange. But we ended up thinking that's what it was. Myers, and then there's somebody else that
it was Bork.
Two in the end. So was it Borkacher? Okay. Down here we had a really good pass breakup from Travis Hunter that got the crowd excited. Hunter also had some fun dancing and kicked a field goal during this practice. That was not planned, by the way. That was just on his own time during a lull in practice where he's having some fun, which I'm also a bit curious. I've seen that a couple of times, him kicking field goals, and I'm a bit curious that if the staff's going to be like, hey, none of that. We don't want any hammies and stuff like that messing around. You know what I mean? Like, I if I'm the coach, I'm kind of, your baseball coach was like, dude, you can't play basketball. There's no basketball. We don't want injuries in basketball. Like, I wonder if there's an element of that here. It's like, okay, I know you're having fun, or do you just have to let that guy go have fun because he wants to have fun? And you can't be scared of that kind of stuff. Maybe the case. So anyway, that's a little bit of the highlights. We'll get some more of them from Austen coming in a little bit after his interview. What does the chat have to say? Because I did want to check in with them, but I can't see too much. What do they say?
Yeah, we got a Duval TV has got a good question. It's on the new guard, Falale, I should say. And he says, you say he's not a starter, and you say he's a depth play, but he played all 17 games the last 2 years for the Ravens. How is that a depth play when he played the last 34 straight? It's a good question. I mean, I labeled him as a depth play. I think you agree with me. I think it's a depth play because, well, number one, he's not the Ravens' offensive line wasn't good. And just because you can start in the NFL and the Ravens' offensive line has been banged up / not good for 2 years, if not more. I mean, look at all the excuses for Lamar Jackson. Where do those come from? Well, they come from that he hadn't had no line. So just because he started there doesn't mean he is a starter. Just in the same way that if Pregnon were to somehow start multiple games to start this year, which we don't think will happen, but it's, I guess, a possibility, that doesn't mean he's necessarily a starter. So do I think that he's going to push for a starting job? No, as long as a guy who has 3 weeks to learn your offense is not going to come in and compete for a starting job unless he absolutely has to. And that means Milam is not available. That means, Walker Little's not available. If all those guys are out, if Van Lanen, McCarry, Little, and Milam are all out, well, then sure. But I don't think that's going to happen. So to me, it is nothing more than a depth play.
Well, listen, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I just think you can go trade. I guess my point in the conversation is you go trade for some people, and you're like, oh, we need him to go plug in and play right now. I don't think that's what this move was. I think they have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, depending on Cole Van Landen and everyone else. They're just really light in the bodies, and they have to start preparing as if they will need some early season bodies. Does that say exactly something about where McCarry is at? Does that say exactly where Cole Van Landen is at? Does that say exactly where Milam, who now is day-to-day? By the way, I guess we should check to see if he was back in there today, but I had not heard that. I don't – maybe it says a little something, but the bottom line is they practiced with 9 – they had 16, I think I saw the number 16 at the outset of camp, and they practiced with 9 yesterday. So to me, when you're making it late, you didn't just go spend a third-round pick or a player-for-player trade to go get a starter. Like, that's not what this was. So, yeah. Starting ability, maybe a good signing. Feels like a very much a depth play, considering what people say about him too. Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, all of a sudden he's going to really factor into this offensive line. I'm not quite sure they want him to, based on some of the performance that he's had. Like that, I don't think that's ideal. I think ideally he's a depth guy. But in a way, it feels a bit like an emergency play.
And I appreciate the question. I think it's a good question, especially with the recency of the signing. And he says, I bet you he's better than Little and Wyatt Milam. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just not buying that. I mean,
hope
personally.
Not, in a way.
Yeah, you kind of hope not, because then what does that say about your Milam pick that you still haven't seen? Like, we are holding out as a fan base that Milam is going to turn into a starter for years. That's why you drafted him. You didn't draft him to be a spot starter or just a depth piece. So that would be pretty concerning if this guy's able to come in immediately or even relatively soon be better than Milam. 48 Boots agrees. He says, we sure Milam is better than Falele? He said Falele isn't worse than McCarry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't know how you know that. McCarry is getting paid to be way better than a guy like Falele. Again, this regime will play whoever's best. But you don't give a guy like Makari the contract that you did, and then Falele's getting traded for a 7th-round pick and barely signed to the Giants just because he has familiarity with the head coach. There's a talent discrepancy here. That doesn't.
Like
there's got to be, or else he wouldn't be tricking 31 other GMs.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, Hamby. If you're really confident, and you guys might be right, or whoever's saying that or thinks that or whatever, if you're so confident, enter the envelope game and put him in the starting lineup on September 13th.
Yeah, do
Sports at actionnewsjacks.com.
Duval TV better have one in there.
I feel like you're going to win a prize if you have him in the starting lineup. I think most people wouldn't do that. And therefore, it's a depth play. That's what it says to me. But it doesn't mean we're right. And we also don't know where some of these injuries are at. And it feels like an emergency signing in a bit. But I like the reaction by the Jags to have an experienced guy and not just like obviously the Christian move didn't work last week. Right, like that.
Right, yeah, that
hasn't worked. That's not. They need to get better than that if they're going to have some of these issues. And to be honest with you, they need somebody to come in here and maybe play in this game Friday or next week's game or the joint practice against the Bucs and be able to protect their quarterback so they can see the rest of the operation. Like that's an important thing. They need that. I mean, Liam Coen has mentioned that countless times. We can't protect. He said to me at halftime. He says it to you in pressers. He says it to you in production meetings. It's like really hard to tell if we can't protect. And you usually don't have that big of a problem with it in camp as the Jags have had just from a body standpoint. Hey, let's do this. Let's take a break.
Real quick on that note, it is now being reported as a 2027 6th-round pick that will go to the New York Football Giants.
It feels like a 6th-round pick, which I'm okay with getting rid of, is more valuable, which it is more valuable than a 7th-round pick. 7th-round pick's like, whatever, if it works, it works. 6th-round pick kind of has that feel like, okay, we think we might have to figure this guy in. Sometimes the picks say something to me, and that's total interpretation by me. I get it, but I would say, obviously, there's more value in it. That's easy. But it also says, like, okay, if it doesn't work out, we end up cutting him, whatever. It's a 7th-round pick. We might have 3 of them by the end.
This doesn't say that you're going to be all that eager to cut him.
Yeah, it seems like he's going to be a part of this thing and part of your depth, and you're going to need it. More importantly, is you think you're going to need it, right? Not just for camp, but at some point, at the early outset of the season. So, again, I'm not saying we're right on it. Maybe he does end up factoring it. Maybe he does. I didn't feel like it with this move, and we'll see how it progresses in the next couple of weeks. Hey, let's hit a break so we end up getting Austen on and get some of these headlines in.
We will hear from Coen
right now
as he hits the podium. We expect to get a little bit more of an idea of what the starters' plan is on Friday. So hopefully we'll have that when we come back.
All right, we're live at Jags headquarters here on a Wednesday. Joint practice done with the Panthers. Bucs are up next week. We got a football game on Friday here at Everbank, and we're going to take a tour of the stadium tomorrow. Me, probably Olivia Tassley, and some of the members of Action News Jacks, Action Sports Jacks. It'll be interesting to get a good look inside, and then you can get a look, of course, on Friday, and you can watch the game on CBS 47.
Baker Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School. Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oak Leaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Stanwood High School, class of 2002.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Local sports content anytime and anywhere. That's been the vision of the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network as we bring you live events and exclusive interviews just like this.
I'd be lying if I'd have said in 1995 when they picked me that 30 years later I'd be sitting here.
Let's see this weigh in right now. What do we got? Oh, we got a big hole. 44.48. There's the moment here.
The lead lead is 14, matching the largest of the game. Crawford, he
Oh
did
my
it again!
gosh.
If we can't do the minimum of making it to the Final Four, then something's really not right.
And it's only growing from there. So join the thousands of people that have been tuning into the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network each week. Download the apps, save the website, or tune into any of our social media platforms as we bring you local sports anytime and anywhere. So come watch some sports with us on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Nimnicht is synonymous with Jacksonville, and now in 2026, Nimnicht is celebrating 85 years of partnerships with you. Longevity equals trust, and you want a car dealership you can trust. Thousands of vehicles sold, generations of families, all part of the Nimnicht family of dealerships. It's nobody but Nimnicht, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road.
Congratulations to Jordan Matthews, our committed to the uncommitted player of the year.
Nobody but Nimnicht. They are there for you and your causes, your car buying experience, and they are there for you 24 hours a day at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Experience professional grade with big inventory and even bigger savings. And Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. Nobody but Nimnicht for 85 years. This milestone belongs to you, Jacksonville. It can be a silent killer, but awareness is getting louder. Blood clots take more lives each year than car crashes. And just like driving, you have to be defensive. A few easy ways to protect yourself or someone you love are to learn your Caprini risk score and ask your doctor about your blood clot prevention plan. Emily's Promise is a local nonprofit named for Emily Atkins, a young woman from Fernandina Beach who died after a preventable blood clot following a broken ankle. Her legacy is now driving change across Florida. The Emily Atkins Family Protection Act strengthens how hospitals screen for clot risks and train staff to recognize warning signs. Blood clots can affect anyone, including athletes, and the signs can be easy to miss. So be aware, be defensive, and help beat a silent killer with loud attention to risk factors and symptoms. Learn more at emilypromises.com. That's emilypromises.com. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
There's a look at Devin Lloyd and Brian Thomas Jr. Getting together after practice. I just saw Brian Thomas. He's still out there, actually, and not with Devin, but with a member of the Carolina coaching staff, I think, that he probably knows. Always a cool time, I think. You know, just think of any
That's
part
Steve
of
Smith.
your life where you get to – oh, is that what he's hanging out with right now?
Yeah.
How do you see that?
I just saw a picture of them two together.
I was like, how are you looking at it? Steve Smith's back to me. Well, that's cool, right? That's a great thing. There's a long conversation going on now between these two. Everybody else wrapping up practice. So Steve
Hopefully
Smith,
he doesn't think he's just a
obviously
guy.
Talking a lot to BTJ. That's cool. Good conversation to see. Good job seeing that. But the practice is over here at Jaguars headquarters, and overall, I think pretty good. Right? That's at the end of the day. I think this was better than the Saints practice. Liam Coen already talked to the media, I'm assuming, or at least he might be in the middle of talking to the media. And I couldn't see it because it's from up here. That part gets blocked off.
Yeah, we got a quote of not sure if starters are playing Friday night. Got to look at the tape. That's our quote. Not sure.
Yeah. So, Okay, so listen, let's just rewind this a little bit and give you my thoughts on it, because that's all we've got, right? We got opinions and interpretations and how we feel like it might go. There's just no way at the outset of this week, again on Saturday, going into that New Orleans game, that there was a plan for the Jag starters to play in this game, and quite frankly, not even the next one against the Bucs. They were going to use these practices the same way they did, get a lot of volume in, get a lot of work in, and then probably work out and not play in the games. That changed when they saw the tape last week. I think they wanted a little more physicality. They projected out what Liam said, right? They projected they weren't going to have too many more physical practices, so that might be the best thing to do. And so he said, and he kept this very open, and I've said this to a lot of people because there were some reports out that said Jag starters expected to play, and I was like, I think that's a bit strong. He said trending to potentially play. Like, there's a big difference in that and expected, in my opinion. I mean, I know it's just words, everything's up for interpretation, but I thought there was wiggle room. I told somebody yesterday, once I saw the injury list come out, and I might have said it on the show, I was just like, my quote was, I don't think there's any chance in hell they're playing on Friday night. So then you get to today and you kind of see, okay, well, what's the latest? And he is unsure is the latest. But what really transpires on these is they go back and look at the tape and they'll have a much better feel of what went on, what happened. Specifically for Liam, he has no feel for what goes on the defensive side during one of these joint practices because he's with the offense all the time. So his reaction, his intentions, his plan certainly could change over the next few hours. And I think that's where he'll finally start to calculate a decision and probably have one in place by tomorrow. But I think that's the mechanics of this. And I think I'm still under the impression I'll be surprised if they play on Friday night with all the injuries they've had, probably the good work that they've got in. I would say this was pretty good work for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I don't know if they would characterize it as that. I think we're going to check in with Austin in a moment. Maybe he will characterize it as that, or maybe not. So I think what that tape says is going to be a good indicator of if they need to play. I'm not, you guys talked about it yesterday. We debated a little bit. I don't think it's that important to go dress out in the stadium, go through those things. I understand why you would. I get it. Dress rehearsal. You can do a lot of that without actually taking a snap, in my opinion. And I just don't think it's worth even going out there for 3 plays, 8 plays, 12 plays. It doesn't do a lot other than risk more injury. And the Jags are in a pretty delicate situation right now when it comes to some of those injury situations, as we all know. So we'll see what else we get out of Liam Coen. Really, I don't know if we're going to get that until almost game time because he doesn't talk again. We might get a little bit of that tomorrow in the production meeting, but we usually can't say a whole lot coming out of there. But it'll be probably, you won't know until a game time decision on Friday unless they kind of put that out or leak that out, which I doubt they would anyway. Let's just be honest, from a marketing standpoint, it's better to say, hey, they might play on Friday night and get everybody glued into it. All right, Austin has made it to his car. Interview with Chris Rodriguez went well. I saw that wrapping up. And obviously the practice. And Austin, what did you see? What's your overall takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, once again, I wasn't there in New Orleans, but I feel like based off of what I saw and what I kind of heard and what we saw in the illegal stream in New Orleans, I think this was a better joint practice for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they were a little more physical, weren't getting pushed around a lot. You saw a couple skirmishes, I'm not going to call them fights, but some pushing and shoving. Trayvon Merrick, who, if you remember back to the old school Shock Your Mock days, was a guy that I really liked a lot. He had a big hit, which kind of alluded to a little bit of a scuffle. Austin Tremel, I thought, had a really good day substituting for Parker Washington. He had maybe like a 65-yard touchdown reception on it was kind of like a drag route and everything, but showed off his speed. Had a touchdown there. Yeah, I thought overall it was a pretty good day of work. I don't think really any injuries that we saw per se, but I would be remiss, and I know we can't talk X's and O's and everything, but without giving away too much, I may have said something about Josh Heinzel, maybe what he's going to be doing this year. He did it. Okay? He did it. So take that for all you want. If you know, you know, but he did it. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw, because you were in the middle of both fields. This was early in practice, but we saw it in real time, and I was like, "Whoa!" I mean, I probably said it like that. Whoa! Like, what a pass rush from Josh Hines-Allen. He split a double team on the left side from his normal position, by the way. But he had a great rep there. I don't know if you caught that one, but it was just a really good rep from him. I know 44. I thought we noticed quite a bit against the Saints. I think that was the word coming out of there. And even when I peeked over on the defensive side of the field, I thought we saw 41 a couple of times. I saw B.J. Green again. From that defensive front. And also, since I'll forget about it if I don't ask you, I want to see some of your other observations. But I really, as Hamby and I were talking about this, you're really, I'm so fascinated to see what Campanile does with the front, because you have so much flexibility there. Even Ororo, who I think has really flashed Saturday night and even in practice today a couple of times, where you can kick him outside or keep him inside. I've heard good things about Armstead so far this camp. I think they're pretty happy with where he is at right now. We know what Devon Hamilton brings. Regis didn't practice today, but he certainly might in there and can move him around. You suggested that right when he was drafted. And we know Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker are versatile players. So I'm just really interested to see, really probably through your eyes, how they move things around on that defensive front, play to play, game to game when the season starts.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I've spoken on a bunch in terms of what we might possibly see, a lot of dime and everything, a lot of mirroring in terms of defensive linemen, not necessarily playing a strong side and a weak side, just being asked when the offense goes in motion to slide over and then take that strong side. I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think a question that we got to ask ourselves is Eric Armstead going to be an every down player for this team? Or do they see enough in a guy like Rukaroro where they can go, okay, obviously stopping the run's important. The trade-off between, maybe saving Armstead for those pass reps and putting Rook in there for those base defense reps is, it's few and far between, where maybe you see Eric Armstead maybe kind of fulfill a role a little more of like a third down player, and then maybe sprinkling him on every once in a while too, when you got to stop the run. But I think it's going to be a question going forward. Obviously a guy who's, experienced in his career, maybe on the back nine of his career a little bit. Do you keep him fresh and do you reserve him for the pass rush downs, or is he going to be an every down defensive lineman going forward to be one to watch?
Yeah, that is. Hey, I saw Travis Hunter kick a field goal and also make a really nice play on the sideline defensively. I did not see him on offense. Did you see him on offense at all today?
He was going back and forth. I didn't see him make a play on offense, but I saw him with the group and everything.
Okay. How about like a Brian Thomas? We saw, you said Austin Trammell. We saw that too. I thought Bashal Tootin had a couple nice plays as well. How about Brian Thomas Jr.? Anything from him? I saw Borkature and Brenton Strange. I just don't know if I saw number 7 or was he pretty locked up today?
I mean, I spoke on in the first half, like the very first pass of that team period, Trevor went right. Brian Thomas Jr. I think it's been volumes when, obviously Parker's gone and everything. Trevor looked at him right away, and I heard with the dime play, he was wide open. And Brian Thomas Jr. had a really nice play.
Yeah, it looks like we're having some trouble with Austin's audio. But anyway, good to catch up on that. I wanted to get him in on the offensive line, so we'll get you some more on that. He's got a conversation with Chris Rodriguez tomorrow that we'll have for you here on the show as well. And then we'll get into that run game and how much we saw and how much Austin saw from there too. So other than a few audio issues trying to get Austin in, spectacular day out here at Jags HQ. So I think it was a good practice again. Fun to be out here. Great crowd, energetic crowd. Energy was awesome. Weather was good. And Jags got some good work in. Trevor Lawrence, Liam Coen already talked, so we'll see what those guys say. We're going to try Austin one more time. What the hell, because he tried to get back in. Let's try you one more time. It was breaking up on us, Austin. But I want to ask you real quick, did you see a lot of different combos from the offensive line? Earlier in the show, you told us that you saw Ezra Cleveland at right guard a little bit. I'm assuming they kept moving people around. And do you make anything out of the trade for Falele that they just made this morning, the offensive lineman from the New York Giants?
Austin, hit accept.
Hit accept, Austin.
I'll have to get him out.
I thought I had him.
There we go.
Sorry, start again, Austin. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the
who the dude they're trading for. He's a guard, correct? All right, it was a good try. Austin, go have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. It was a good effort. Thanks for trying. Get out of here. We'll get your full recap coming up tomorrow on the Brent and Austen Show at 10 a.m. here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. Hey, just real quick, Hamby, anything you're seeing outside of what we've discussed and talked about that catches your attention, maybe from Carolina folks or whatever else? That's notable.
Yeah, I'm looking through some stuff on Liam. I now see Steve Smith and Travis Hunter going back and forth for a few minutes, which is cool. Coen said Mullins would start the game if Lawrence is scratched. So pretty much, that's not necessarily new. But and then I just saw that Coen said
I think that is somewhat significant. I mean, everybody's talking about the backup quarterback for real. I'm not joking around here. But and also I wondered about his shoulder a bit. So they're going to give him another crack at this. It's not like they're going to say, hey, Carter Bradley, Joey Aguilar, this is your game. So that I think there is some significance. And it also tells you a little bit about the health of him, that he's good to go, that he practiced today and also in good shape. I know everybody's just was panicking this past week about the backup. I don't think they are yet. Anyway, I think that's somewhat notable. Maybe expected, but I think somewhat notable. Continue on.
It was that, and then Liam said he thought today was both more physical and cleaner. So I think that's two positives. I don't know how much more. He'll probably reserve the right to comment on that until after he watches the tape. But that's one of those things that we talked about. If he perceives that it was a good bit cleaner and more physical, that's all the more reason not to play the starters, at least in his mind, on Friday. So I think that's a key determination from when he goes back and watches the tape.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty loud to me. That's his initial reaction. Will the tape confirm that, to your point? Then I think we're going to probably say, okay, see you later. We'll see you next week against the Tampa Bay Bucks in the joint practice. It's just my guess. We'll see if that's the way it shakes out or not for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, Hamby, juggling a lot of stuff today. Good team coverage throughout the day from Austin, Liv, and Noah, and Mia. And we'll have plenty of interviews tonight coming up. 1st and 10 training camp, 11:15 on CBS 47, Fox 30. We usually push that out on YouTube and social media after the fact, so you can catch that throughout the next couple of days. We only have 2 more editions of that, and then we lead right into Countdown to Kickoff, 7 o'clock on Friday night. It's the Jags and the Panthers on CBS 47, post-game show included, and then we roll right into the Friday Night Blitz on Friday, too. So we've got a lot happening now as we get toward the latter stages of the month of August. Hope you had a good Wednesday. Enjoy being out here. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you back tomorrow in studio with a new look on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network of the Brent and Austen Show.
When we say the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network is everywhere, we mean it. If you don't want to see our ugly faces and you just want to hear our takes, listen to the podcast. It's up 30 minutes after every live show. Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google Play. It's really that simple. Just pull out your phone. I'm on Spotify, Action Sports Jacks. Every episode is right there, split into hour chunks, so you get exactly what you're looking for.
I think it would be a better chance that Branson Combs wins the weak side linebacker spot than Wyatt Milam wins the right guard spot. And that's more because Patrick McCarry has done more in the league.
Stupid take.
He's more.
Maybe you only have 15 minutes before the kids come home. You don't have time to listen to the full show. You're craving Jags content. The YouTube page is for you. We have a separate playlist called Brent and Austen Show Segments. It's Jags only conversations right there every day. Subscribe. Don't miss any Jags content. Action Sports Jacks.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bonos app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bonos Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bonos Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device. First, launch Roku. Next, use the menu list to scroll down to the search feature. Then, use the remote to enter Action News Jax into the search bar, and then click Action News Jax thumbnail. Once you see this screen, go ahead and select Add App. Wait a few seconds for it to install. Once it finishes installing, press the star button on your remote and click on Move App or Move App to the top. Finally, select the app back on your home screen to open it. Now you can watch all the great content on Action News Jax Now. Live daily breaking news.
We have breaking news happening right now in Clay County.
First alert weather and traffic.
Looks like we have a tornado warning. Let's take a look at that.
Action Sports Jax 24/7.
We've got the Brent Austen Show daily, live sporting events, and long-form interviews you can't see anywhere else.
And shows like Law and Crime and much more. And that's how you access Action News Jax Now using your Roku device.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
High school sports, travel sports,